I'm not calling anybody out individually. Like everyone that played the beta was like, this game is incredible.
I mean, no matter what, it's a fact that this is the largest Diablo franchise launch in their history ever.
Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. Welcome along. We've got an interesting one today. We're going to be comparing Diablo Immortal versus Raid in terms of pay-to-win mechanics, longevity, and I've got three specialists in to talk us through their experiences of both games and how they compare. Right then, guys, I'd like to welcome three special guests onto the channel. We have got Coldbrew, we've got Chosen, we've got DarthMicro. So you're all uploading to Diablo channels basically on a daily basis. Yeah, you're fully into the game.
Both channels.
Yeah, and I'm not, and I actually feel like I probably should be. It feels like a game that I absolutely would love to play, and I played it for a couple of days. But what I have seen is tons of press about Diablo, about pay-to-win mechanics, all that type of stuff, and I really wanted to get under the skin of it in this video, and I guess find out the truth about what's going on with the game, because I'm playing a game, Raid Shadow Legends, which is insanely pay-to-win if you want it to be. And I've also kind of grown up through the microtransactions of, I played Clash of Clans. And when I started playing it, an expensive purchase was 99p. And then, 3 months into it, it was a £4.99. And then by the time I stopped playing the game, it was like a £99.99 purchase. And that's kind of like became the norm. Yeah, and that was over the spread of a few years. So I've seen pricing change. I've seen all that type of stuff happen. And it feels like there's almost like the new explosion of what's coming next. Is it actually as pay to win as people are saying it is? But I also want to talk about how good the game actually is. If we were comparing it with Raid, Chosen, let's start with you. How do you find the game in terms of pricing versus Raid? And do you feel like it is insanely pay to win, or actually is it kind of something which you're just kind of used to?
Yeah, I think I have an interesting perspective because I come from like the hardcore PC gamer, StarCraft Pro type guy that is now transitioning to the mobile. I think a lot of the bad press is because a lot of your PC gamers are not used to this kind of thing. They're used to Diablo 2. You play through it. There's not like offers popping up. There's nothing like that going on. And some of these people that aren't into like the mobile gaming scene and playing Raid and Awakened Chaos Era and Dragon Champions, they're not used to that. So I think it's kind of like a culture shock because you have a lot of your PC gamers that are diving in and trying, a PC game in Diablo, and now they're trying it on the mobile devices and seeing some of these mechanics maybe for the first time that they've really dove into it. So I think it's a lot of it's like a culture shock, but a lot of it's also justified. So I don't know, I don't want to talk for 10 minutes straight, so I'll let other people jump in. But yeah, that's why it's so interesting.
Yeah, just one other point on what you said there then. So in previous Diablo games, could you buy any packs to enhance your gameplay at all? In PC versions, I mean, like in previous
no,
ones.
when Diablo 3 launched, you technically could, like you could
like a market
go
or something. Was there? I'm just going by what I hear. Yeah, go on.
They called it the auction house, but you could go on the auction house and you could absolutely spend real money and get god tier gear. You could scroll, you could sort by what stats you want. The maximum price on the auction house was 250 USD. So you could you could spend $2,500, get 10 pieces that are really good, and have a decked out character. There was also open trading, so there was a black market. There was one person that paid 8,500 euro for an Echoing Fury. Echoing Fury was a weapon. So yeah, no, there was insane pay to win. But then they took it's a whole history. They took down the auction house, but even on Diablo 2, like you can pay to win. There's all sorts of websites where you can spend like forum gold to get items and stuff. You can do the same thing in Path of Exile. People act like these games don't have any pay to win. They absolutely do. You just have to.
So there has been some history of it. It's just it's almost like a black market rather than an open market, which is perhaps what you got now.
Yeah, and I did a collab with one of the best Diablo 2 players ever in Mr. Llama, and I said the same thing to him. I'm like, well, I can go on a third-party site and buy the best Diablo 2 gear. It's the exact same thing, but you hate
Yeah.
it in Diablo Immortal. And he was like, well, it's a lot different when it's like the company popping it up in your face while you're playing, as
Okay.
opposed to, people having to seek it out and do back alley, black market trading. So that was his perspective when I kind of brought up that argument to him.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, we've all played Raid for a number of years along the way, and I'm looking at some stuff here: £89.99 for a pack, £45, £22. So, I guess Coldbrew, talk us through what you see as a kind of these packs that are popping in your face in Diablo. What's that like compared to a Raid pack?
In Diablo, the packs don't really pop up to your face. You get like a small dot which says a new one-time bundle is now offered in the shop, and then of course you're gonna go check it if you're used to this kind of offers through mobile game, which we are. So you check it and you see if it's worth it for you, and you buy it. Like me myself, I was like, okay, I'll spend some money on the game starting out, and we'll see where it takes me. But I was surprised, honestly. I did not expect it to be so much monetized. Yeah, my expectations.
Would you say worse than the Raid is in terms of monetization possibilities?
I think similar in some ways. In some ways similar, but the comparison cannot be made exactly. It would be like trying to get a +4 champion, +4 power champion, the first day that Raid launched.
Right.
And
so where I'm hearing this kind of like you need to spend over $100,000 to max someone out. That's your equivalent, almost like it's because they're trying to do it day one and they're trying to get the equivalent of a +4 Trunder day one.
Yeah,
don't let him off the hook, Hell Hades. Make him say which one's worse. Which one's worse, Coldbrew? Which one's monetization is worse? Come on now, don't play the fence here. I'll tell you which one's worse.
I can't compare Raid. The Raid has been 3 years old now with all the offers that we have. So many of them are good. The Black Friday offers, those are, well, we're used to really expensive offers. So when we see those offers, we say, oh, this is good. But
which one, in a 6-month period, which one do you think you've got the potential to spend more money in?
Oh, Diablo. I can definitely spend more money in Diablo.
I'll throw my hat in the ring here. I think Diablo Immortal's worse. I think the monetization's better on Raid, which is alarming because we obviously all have issues with Plarium. But like so Raid is much more rewarding to like the dolphin, like the person that wants to spend a couple $100. They're gonna get so much more value on Raid than they are on Diablo Immortal. And it's the same thing. I mean, the whales is the whales. The people that are gonna spend $30,000, it is what it is. But like the dolphins that want to spend a couple $100, you get way more for that couple $100 when you're a new player on Raid and you're summoning Apothecary and Miscreated Monster and Maneater and Seer and you're progressing super fast. You get a lot more for a few $100 on Raid than you do on Diablo Immortal for sure, in my opinion.
Okay, so Darth, let's come to you because I know you're someone who has been known to whale out now and then. Have you done that on Diablo as well?
Yeah, so I've spent $600, which is probably considered welling, considering it's in the first month. I think Brad's right. When you spend that amount of money, like hundreds, not thousands, it does not feel good. What you're getting does not feel like good value. But I have a different problem almost entirely, which is that it doesn't. There's two things that are the problem with the monetization in Diablo. One, it doesn't feel good. So in Raid, you're almost paying for the experience, to be honest. Like opening shards in and of itself is an enjoyable thing. And at any time you can acquire something and basically be done, then you can go level it. We all moaned about the monetization, but the reality is once you have the champion, you're more or less done and you can get that maxed without, needing to be too crazy monetization. The game starts when you actually buy the gem in Diablo for the monetization. Then you have to level the gem. The leveling of the gem is the expensive part. It would be like if the monetization in Raid began when you got the hero. It's a different problem. It's also not enjoyable, like I'm saying, so the actual dopamine part of it isn't fun as well. And then you can go deeper quicker in Diablo. So it's like in Raid, you can probably spend, thousands of dollars, but it's going to take you a while to max out these heroes and everything. In Diablo, it's just like a straight, you swipe and you can see how much money you need to spend. Like as soon as you get the gym, you already know, like, okay, I'm literally like $1,000 for maxing this gym. You can see the problem like down the road. So it's way less encouraging to spend your money because you can basically just math it out and know, all right, I'm getting this much, you know, fried
Just
gym
because of the
fragments
chances
per.
of getting the kind of quality roll on a gem. Is that what you mean?
Well, he's dead on
Course.
right. He's dead on right. It'd be like I'm trying to relate it to Raid because that's
Yeah.
your viewers and your channel and stuff. It'd be like if you pulled a Siffy and Siffy took 100 books to max out her skills,
Right.
and books are never available anywhere. They're never in a tournament, never in an event. You have to buy them, and it takes 100 books to level her skills. That's what it's like in Diablo Immortal.
So just Darth, coming back to you, because I'm hearing that it's impossible as a free to play to do what you just said there. So maxing out a Sifi, for example, on Raid, eventually as a free to player, you can do it, right? It might take you 2-3 months to get the books you need, but eventually you will get them because they are accessible. Are the equivalent in Diablo even accessible without money?
Make no mistake, Raid and Diablo cannot be compared. So all of
Yeah.
these comparisons are disingenuous and not going to really do anything. But to answer the question, when it comes to actually maxing out something in Diablo, you're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. Your kids might max out your account, maybe, but like you don't have enough time on the planet. So I can tell you the free to play is better in Raid. Like just from the math, I know it is. Like for a fact, the free to play is better in Raid only if we're talking about acquiring resources. But I think Diablo is good from the non-acquiring resources. You see, we're mobile gamers. We're used to fighting the system for resources. That's our
Yeah.
focus. That's what we complain about constantly. But the thing about Diablo is it's designed for the casual person that's playing like 2 hours a day. It's not designed for people to think about resources and the math and stuff like us. Because if you do, it's horribly discouraging, and you'll probably quit the game the first month if you do that, to be honest. I think it's really designed for people, and I know as much because the devs have told me straight on in a one-on-one call that it's designed for people that are playing casual. Like it is not
Okay.
designed for these 12 to 18 hour players, and it's not designed for people that are spending hundreds. It's designed for people that are either thousands or $5. I mean, the math
Sure.
is clear on this.
And do you think then it's got long-term like sustainability as a game? Has it got enough for you to do
Yeah.
within the game as like an end game sort of experience?
Yeah, definitely. In my personal opinion, I don't know what you guys below me here think on the call, but like in my own personal opinion, there's going to be longevity in the game just because the way they built the infrastructure of the actual leveling experience and everything, it's all gated, and they have it on like a trickle system. Like they trickle down the dopamine into it and then spoon feed it to you slowly. And when you see the system set up, it's set up to be designed for years, is what I'm saying. Like you can see
Okay.
it from the beginning. And it may frustrate some like super hardcore people, and that might not be the audience that stays with the game, but it is going to be like a continual rotating door of casual people for years. I definitely think so.
And then, so Chosen, if you were playing, I don't know, endgame PvP in Diablo, would you be up against potentially people that are spending, you know, thousands, tens of thousands, and that would basically mean an instant loss? Or have they done something in their system to make sure that, you know, there's some sort of reasonable competitive element to it?
Yeah, they have some mechanics that scale the PvP. You know, it'd be kind of like in you know, in the raid arena if everybody's attack and defense and HP got scaled down from their gear. So they try to mitigate it a little bit, but yeah, if you're climbing up the tiers in PvP, eventually you're gonna face people that have insane in Diablo Immortal. It's resonance that you get from like upgrading your gems and stuff, and resonance
Yeah.
kind of gives you you know, stats. So you will face people that are really tough to beat, even with the scaling mechanics for sure. So, but you know, it works just like Raid. You have your bronze and your silver type mechanics. So hopefully people will kind of stay around the people in their kind of tier and have semi, you know, mostly competitive
You'll just
matches.
be competitive, but to your
Yeah.
level of account
Yeah, but yeah, you're
or
not going to get
experience or
like
play.
rank 1 in PvP as a free to play. Like, no, it's just not going to happen.
Right, okay. Okay, so I mean, let's come away from costs to play the game. It feels like everyone I've ever spoken to so far on this topic has said it's overpriced, and it sounds like you're kind of just concurring with that in terms of, you know, your experience so far is it's way over where it should be for, you know, someone who's not being a greedy developer, basically. Let's talk about your actual enjoyment of the game. So, you know, if you guys were rating the game just out of 5, where would you pitch it as, you know, a playable game and experience, what you felt so far?
Go ahead, Coldbrew. You guys can take it off.
Well, I've rated it before out of 10, so yeah, it's
Go for
three
it,
and a
yeah.
half out of 5. So
3.5.
7 out of 10. Yeah, and I can go lower, but there's certain aspects which you can see them as a non-spender and see, okay, I can get 20, 30 hours out of this game for free. And even more, like just the leveling is going to take you 25 hours as a casual at least.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a lot of story mode, a lot of enjoyment. You can follow through, not skip anything. There's multiple classes you can try out to test, to see which one you like the most. And yeah, that's 100% for free.
And do you, so 3.5 out of 5, whatever, 7 out of 10, do you see it then as a long-term game for you? Or do you think it's kind of like once you've done the full playthrough, you're kind of finished? For you
No.
personally?
So far, I'm enjoying the progress. It's just that I also want to see some advancement in certain areas, and they patch some things that cause frustration. Hopefully, soon. We haven't heard anything from the developers since launch,
Right,
honestly.
okay.
So I have no idea if anything's in motion, because the actual global launch, so available everywhere, is gonna be in the 22nd or 23rd, I think, of the month in Asia.
Oh, right. It's not available everywhere. I thought it was. Okay. Didn't know that.
Not in the East yet. Yep, he's right. Yep.
Right. And Darth, where would you pitch it?
I always tend to honeymoon games a little bit, so I'm always liking them a little bit better during launch, to be honest, because clean servers are always exciting for me. I'd probably go like an 8. I think Coldbrew is pretty much right on the money where there's some discouraging things. I think they probably could have gone the Maple Story route of, instead of gating your experience if you're above other people, making it where it's just exponential experience, where it's like getting to level 200 or whatever would just take forever, and then it's like let the people grind away at full experience, but it'll take forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that way might have worked, but I think the problem is with Diablo and with the nature of how they have PvP implemented in this game. It's such a big part of the game, and then when you're doing like the 1v30, how your combat rating works against when you're fighting other things into what's technically like PvE fights. Like there's a lot of problems with the way basically the combat rating system works if they're trying to make it really balanced and pay to win. And so because of that, I don't know if it's even possible for them to fix the problem with the caps, is where I'm coming at it from. Because if they remove the caps and just let people grind away, then the people who are 21 hours, 22 hours are going to blast so far ahead because of it that everyone else is going to get pissed off. And then the whales are like, I spent $5,000 and lost to a free-to-play guy, and then they're going to stop spending money. And so because of the nature of Diablo games itself, I think that's an unsolvable mess, basically.
And Diablo games generally, the main purpose is PvP endgame. So I come from MMO life, right? So I see there's almost like a 50-50, depends what you want to do. You either be an endgame kind of raider where you kind of group with friends, or there's PvP, and some people like one, some people like the other. So where does Diablo sit on that?
It's a PvE game. It's a grindy game. It's about loot, which is why the caps are a problem, because it's about how often you can grind the legendaries and get the perfect drops, and it's just about RNG and rolling of the equipment. And PvP has always kind of been a side gimmick. Like it's never really been like the thing that people actually work on. Diablo 4 is going to be changing that, because we saw with some latest announcements there's much heavier focus on open world and PvP in Diablo 4, but the game's not out yet. So Diablo Immortal has the first real focus on, but because of the pay to win mechanic and the way the combat rating works in the game, it's so hard for them to fix the cap problem. They're going to aggravate some players somewhere. It's either going to be the whales, the free to play, or the grinders. So what they're trying to do is not piss off the casuals and not piss off the whales. And those are the ones they're catering to the most at the moment. For that reason, to answer the question with my long-worded answer, it's probably like a 7.5 or an 8, just because the gameplay is so good. But there is problems.
Yeah. And what do you think, Chosen?
Yeah, I agree with both of them. Like, if I didn't know anything going into it and I just started the game, I'd rate it like a 7 out of 10. With horrible monetization that I hope they adjust. Now, based on what we thought we were getting, because everybody that played the beta was like, this game is going to change your life. It's the best thing to ever exist on planet Earth. It's
Well, they had
gonna,
so many like
yeah,
pre-downloads, right? It was like
yeah,
I
it's
don't know,
got
millions,
50
whatever.
million pre-registers,
Yeah.
and everyone, I'm not calling anybody out individually, like everyone that played the beta was like, this game is incredible.
Yeah.
So based on what I thought was coming, it's like a 3 out of 10. But if I just went into it unbiased and played it, yeah, like a 6 or 7 out of 10 probably. And it's got a potential to be a 9 if they continue to evolve like Raid did. I mean, Raid is 10 times
Yeah.
better now than it was on
Yeah.
release, you know.
And I
So
was going to say, like all of you
yeah,
have said there, if they can fix this, if they can fix that. Often you go into a game, you know, the honeymoon period of this is amazing, and you know everyone should come and play this game. Then you actually get under the skin of it, and it's like, well, it's got these few problems, and if you can fix this, it'll be better. And you know, nowadays games are released as a beta, and they stay a beta for the next 2 years, whilst all of the content kind of drops. Yeah.
oh, exactly. Yeah, every game does that because they're under so much pressure to games that take such a high budget now to
Yeah.
produce, that they're under so much pressure to start collecting on that. And we get these half-baked releases. Every game does it. And then they kind of are forced to, like you said, have a beta for a year and slowly kind of grow into what they always wanted it to be.
Yeah. So I guess the last kind of point or what have you I wanted to make here was around what the game's actually rated at the moment, which is significantly lower than what you guys are saying. It's rated like user rated less than 1, like the worst rated
0
game
point.
Blizzard have ever made, and like there's all this big kind of community push towards that. So how do you view that? Is that literally just a case of we want to be heard? Darth, you've had experience in this. You kind of led a bit of a, you know,
I've had my own
made
pitchfork
Raid
out, for
get
sure.
better in the past, and you did basically a similar type of push with a community.
Yeah, here's how I see it. Often these are triggered by something. What I think this was triggered by is the fact that Diablo is like a hardcore nostalgia IP. So you take one of these hardcore nostalgia IPs and you add what everyone does in one, which is microtransaction. And I always use the metaphor if it's like the Halo TV show, or you take the helmet off, everyone gets pissed off because you did exactly what everyone doesn't want, right? So
Yeah.
because of that, we're seeing a larger than normal response. Plus, it's compounded by the fact that we have the "Do you not have phones" meme. I mean, if you really want something to get dunked on, make it into a meme. And they had the meme of the year with this. Okay, so that's been getting prepared to be dunked on for a literal year. Then you have the fact that all the major YouTubers see it as free content to talk about because it is, and you can basically dunk on it and be correct at the same time. It's like you can't even be mad at them because it's like, yeah, you're making the same point everyone's making. Hell, I've made the point in like 2 or 3 of my own videos by this point, but you're not wrong either. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, I can't hate on it too much. I do think there's a little bit of unfair dunking. I've seen lots of reviews where the people played less than an hour or just got like stuff factually wrong, like saying there's content that's paywall. There's nothing in the game that's paywalled factually except for one thing, which is the Dawning Echo item in order to awaken your gear. There's no content in the game that you can't play. It's free to play. So like stuff like that is a little annoying, but no, dude, the reviews are what you would expect when you take a hardcore nostalgia, do a probably 8 out of 10 bad monetization play on it. I mean, it was the perfect shitstorm. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, do you find just in today's, this is for you, Coldbrew, like today's society, I see it with meme stocks, I see it in gaming. Like basically, if you can get a group of people to all push in a direction, you just create a snowball, right? How is this kind of what you're seeing with this kind of review system that's going on right now?
That's what I see, and every YouTuber out there is just capitalizing on the hate train, and they just get on board to write out and get thousands of views. I see it as you know, the Twitch streamers out there who get like twice their viewership just because they wail out just for the meme, and yeah, they keep on doing that just to capitalize on what this is, you know, what this launch was. And I think if there wasn't a PC client for at least like a month, nobody would even bother to play it on the phone and make a video about it.
I was just gonna say this one went so mainstream. It's in like tons of articles. I literally had the Washington Post interview me for an article. It was in PC
Really?
Games magazine too. Like it's I'm surprised it hasn't been on like the Talking Heads TV shows by now. You know what I mean? Like it might make the major news round. It's
Yeah,
the
that's
worst
that's
press release of all
That's
time.
what I always tell people. It's, Diablo Immortal is the Johnny Depp trial of gaming. Like
Yeah.
it's just like even people, even like YouTubers that do like news and politics and sports, like they're talking about Diablo Immortal. Like everyone's got a take. It's super mainstream, just like Darth said, because it's such a hot button topic. It's a hardcore, huge IP and a player base that's very frustrated by their IP and their baby, their Diablo,
Yeah.
everybody that's our age that grew up their whole life loving Diablo, and there's no pay to win, and now all of a sudden it's being turned into the new wave of mobile gaming, and it's just a perfect storm of something super popular and something that people are upset about, and then like Coldbrew said, everybody starts kind of jumping on it and farming content, and it's just kind of how the social media era kind of works.
Yeah, and then so I mean, Chosen, you guys, and I know you guys have got like a group together, both an EU-based one and a US-based one, where you've got literally thousands of people joining your Discords, and I put all this type of stuff down below. It feels like the game is actually popping off. Plus, for Blizzard, I think it's their most successful launch ever, financially and for number of players. So, do you think that once the noise dies down, actually it's just going to sit there as a successful game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it will at least be successful until Diablo 4 comes out, and then we'll see if that grabs some of the hardcore players. Diablo 4 is going to probably come out somewhere between a year or two.
But do you feel like they're just going to have almost like a different player base? Then
Yeah,
you've got the
Yeah,
hardcore, maybe the
100%.
Diablo 4, and then
yeah.
this is a new era?
Immortal may be like your more casual mobile type players, and then Diablo 4 might be like those Diablo 2 Path of Exile hardcore grinders. We'll see. We'll have to see how they evolve it. But yeah, I think Immortal is going to have a good run here for at least a year or two. And if they can hit some home runs on some content and adjust some things, maybe even longer.
I mean, no matter what, it's a fact that this is the largest Diablo franchise launch in their history ever. That's already a fact. Like it is already successful. They made $15 million the first 10 days. Like there's a lot of bad press, but
At
it's
least.
like if you look at the data, like
least 15,
they knocked it out of the park in terms
Yeah.
of what the people are actually, the actions are showing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to run a successful business, all you're looking at right now is positive KPIs, right?
The bottom
Basically.
line's working, baby. Like you know what I mean? This is a home run for them in their eyes.
Yeah. So I guess closing off, thanks all of you for coming on and kind of sharing your thoughts, sharing your views.
Sure.
I think it's interesting because there's definitely a crossover of people that are interested that are currently in my community in Raid between Diablo Immortal and whether it's a sort of game that they would want to look at. So I guess for each of you, just give people a closing comment around where they can find you and that type of stuff. Coldbrew, kick us off.
Yeah, you can find me over for raid content on my Coldbrew channel, of course, but I've got a Diablo channel as well, where I cover everything there Diablo related.
And what about you, Darth? What's the best place to find you? Still
You
streaming
can find
12
me
hours a day, or?
I've been doing a fair amount of streaming, to be honest, but I'm kind of taking the day off streaming. You can find me at DM Diablo Immortal. If you're interested in Diablo Immortal stuff for us, you already know where I'm at.
And Chosen, I know you're kind of almost like running a team or what have you. So give us just a quick few seconds on that as well.
Sure, yeah. So we did a really fun and exciting project with lots of content creators and Ash, if you know him from Ash Raid Shadow Legends, the whole Aftershock media group that represents you and me and some of the content creators partnered up with him and that company and a bunch of creators to try and do something together instead of everybody doing something separately. And so it's been a lot of fun to work with people like Coldbrew and Darth. We're in the same clan and we're grinding Diablo Immortal together. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and you can find me just like Darth at Chosen Diablo Immortal, and then also just Chosen on Twitch.
Cool. So look, I'll put all of these links down below, of course. Guys, thank you so much for coming on and talking all things Diablo and Raid. Yeah, catch you later.